I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign.
Hello, how's everybody doing? This is Chris and Brandon here with our Off the Wall podcast. And we have a special entry that we're recording here today. How are you doing, Brandon?
Doing good, Chris. Doing good. Everything's going well on this beautiful Sunday morning. Just want to also shout out, we will have a podcast tonight as well, streaming live at 7 Eastern. If you want to tune in for more baseball discussion. But let's go ahead and talk about the subject of the day. Mason Miller has been one of the most phenomenal closers in baseball the last couple years. His streak of 28 scoreless has been from last year into this year has been phenomenal. And my friend, well, I would call him a colleague more so than a friend, but I think we've grown to be friendly. Jarvis Haren from the ABC affiliate here in Harrisonburg, here in the Valley up in Harrisonburg. Pitched, had a TikTok. He's from San Diego. That's his background. So that's why he's a Padres fan. So he wanted to pitch he pitched the question on his TikTok that why Mason Miller should be a Cy Young contender. And I wanted to bring it on to Off of the Wall here with Chris and myself for a short little recording. So I'll pitch it to you first, Chris. Is Mason Miller a Cy Young candidate this year?
It's such a hard thing for a reliever to actually win the Cy Young because there has to be a perfect storm of everything, right? Not only does that reliever have to be utterly dominant, like well beyond any other closer, but you also have to have no starter really stand out, right?
Right.
That's sort of what the perfect storm has to be. I do believe Mason Miller is that dominant. I think he checks that first box. The problem for him with the Cy Young contention is that there are so many great starting pitchers that are also in that contention. We've sort of talked about them on past podcasts, right? Skeens obviously is one of them in the National League, but you've got several. We've talked about Yuri Perez, before. We've talked about, you've got Freddie Peralta for the Mets. You've got, several for the Phillies potentially. They're just a lot of names. That's before we even get into the Dodgers and Yamamoto and, that. I think that's what makes it hard for him. Do I think he has a chance? If any reliever has a chance, it's him. There's no question about that. But I don't know if all the elements needed for him to be able to win it are in place right now, because I do think there are some really dominant starting pitchers as well. So
I think for me, this is a twofold kind of question, because there was a year that Zach Britton was so dominant. And he was, I think when he was on the Orioles or Yankees, I think it was with Baltimore. He was so dominant that there was this one year he was so dominant, but he didn't even crack the top 3 in Cy Young voting because of it. Because he's a closer, and you have so many few opportunities each day to, like, you only pitch like an inning or two, and most of the Cy Young Award, the spirit of it is like the best starter normally, and but to bring up Mason Miller in these conversations, it means that he's he's been doing the best work, especially this year, of anybody. I mean, he's got 28 strikeouts, right? Like one of the league leaders in strikeouts right now. In his short frame, hasn't given up a run. He hasn't, as we highlighted earlier with his 28 from last year, his 28 in the third innings from last year into this year, like the last few games of last year, and then now this year starting out, not giving up a run. And I mean, when you throw 104 on a consistent basis, and then the slider at 90 miles an hour, or 95 miles an hour, wherever he does, it's just it's unhittable. And I think he could be if the field isn't that great. Now, that's the thing, that Zach Britton year I mentioned too. Someone commented on Jarvis's TikTok about the Britton year, and the field that year wasn't that great either. He said, that commenter said on the TikTok. So even if the field's not that great this year, which let's be honest, it's going to be, if Skeens has bounced back. You got Yuri Perez, like we talked about, Alcantara from the Marlins too, Peralta. You got Sanchez in Philadelphia. You got Mizorowski from the Brewers potentially sneaking up into the Cy Young discussion. You got the obvious ones in the Dodgers. You got Yamamoto, Snell, guys like that have been consistent this year thus far. You got Ohtani too when he pitches. I don't know if he'll get Cy Young. He'll probably just get MVP, but when he pitches, he could be up there for Cy Young nominations as well. So it's one of those tough situations for Mason Miller, just because of the fact the reliever aspect of it. But I do love the question from Jarvis, because he's been that dominant. He's been that dominant this year. And it's like, for me, it's when you look at the details, it's you get into these pitching details and everything like that. It's one of those, if you're in a game with the Padres and you're down one heading into the eighth, you better get the runs in the eighth, because you're not going to get him in the ninth, because he's just that dominant.
Absolutely.
Any other things you want to bring up about Mason Miller?
Yeah, I'd love to just talk about some of his stats, because they really are incredible, right? So we pitched 7 1/3 innings so far. He had 19 strikeouts. That means 19 of the 22 batters that he's gotten out were down by way of the K. That's like nearly 100% of the batters that he faces strike out against him. I mean, that's absolutely absurd. He's allowed just one hit and one walk in that time as well. And then when you start getting into the deeper analytics, right? I mean, he's got a 100% left on base rate. So literally anybody that's been on base has not scored against him. You know, he's got his FEEP, his FEEP is negative 1.65 right now.
Yeah,
his xFEEP is negative 1.3. I've never seen negative in my life. That is just
those advanced stats.
That's mind blowing. I mean, he's doing stuff. I mean, granted, I get it. It's a small sample size. 7 innings isn't very long, but I mean those numbers are just like, those are beyond video game numbers. He's accumulated in 7 innings. He's accumulated 0.7 FWAR. Like, you can't. It's almost impossible to accumulate that much in that short of a time. I mean, so I can see where the conversation comes from. I mean, these numbers are stuff we've never seen before. I mean, obviously, I don't think he's going to quite maintain that level throughout the course of the season.
No, I think
if he can maintain even a portion of that, it's still going to be one of the best reliever seasons of all time, honestly. So
the fact that, here's the thing too, which is even crazier, right? When you look at his career, 2024 was his only All-Star season. And in his career, which is crazy to think about, because when you look at 2025 last year, he was still 2.63 ERA. But the thing of it was, the first half of the Athletics, he was struggling at 3.76 ERA. As soon as he gets to San Diego, 0.77 ERA the rest of the way, and then now it's hasn't given up a run. It is just crazy. He's probably going to be an all-star. I think he's going to win the reliever of the year. I think he will keep up that maintain success to win reliever of the year. Even though you got Diaz, Eva Diaz, you got Durant. Like that award in the NL is kind of too because you
Yeah.
got great relievers in the National League,
Mhm.
great closers, but I think Miller's the best out of all of them, and I think
agree.
he'll maintain that success until January or until October, and I think I think he's the reason the Padres have a dark horse chance to make a wild card this year because of Mason Miller in the back end. He's probably going to get you to save 8 out of 10 times, probably.
Agree.
On a normal basis.
Mhm.
So, with that being said, is there any other closer run that this run from Miller has reminded you of? I have a couple.
I was gonna say the first one that immediately pops to my mind as a Red Sox fan, and it's not the same level of dominance in terms of strikeouts, but
Right.
Koji Uehara when he
Yep.
became the closer for the Red Sox,
Yep.
and I think what was it, 40-something straight innings without giving up a run or something like
Yep.
that. So
Yep.
that was the very first one that popped up in my mind. But I'm curious what one you were thinking of as well.
Well, I know Mariano had to have one in his career that he had that kind of like dominance because he's the best. He's the best all time closer in my opinion, Mariano Rivera. But like I said, that Britton year, I brought up that Zach Britton year, and I think this is eerily similar to that Zach Britton year. It's just, it is crazy to me that we're having these discussions early on too, about a closer. And I wanted to have this discussion because like that's the thing. He was so dominant in the WBC, and the fact that he didn't get the opportunity to pitch to the final because of the Padres. I mean, it's not the Padres' fault. They made the right decision for their season. Look at them right now. It worked out. So it's worked out for them 100%. So I just wanted to say, Mariano is the guy for me that I would think this kind of a run for him is like comparison to. We're starting to get into this Mariano, Trevor Hoffman talks right now with him. And it's great to have those discussions because we haven't seen closers the last few years, I think, being this dominant since I just don't like. Yeah, like Felix Bautista had a good year in Baltimore, like that one year, but it's not like dominant, and also too, well, you have got, but it's not like straight 2-year consistency dominance out of these guys since I think the closers like Papelbon and guys like that, the late like Mariano and Hoffman and all the Hall of Famers that at the closer position. It's just it's hard to be a closer in this era with the guys being better at the plate. It really is. So, and it's just good. It's just, but also that the thing too, his spin rate is probably one of the best in baseball when you look at how fast he throws it and how much control he has. Like he can paint 104 miles an hour on a corner. That is unhittable. It's unhittable from Mr. Miller. So I think that's where we got into a point. I think we laid out the case. I think we're both in agreement that his Cy Young chances are very steep. But I do love the question from I'm not going to poo-poo Jarvis because he's a great reporter locally here in the Valley, in the Shenandoah Valley, because he's great at his job, and I wanted to shout him out, and that's why I wanted to make this video because I wanted to talk about Mason Miller, and I found a way to do it. So shout out Jarvis Haren at Jarvis Haren and the WHSV crew here in the Shenandoah Valley. About 30 the studio is 30 minutes north from where I'm at, so I just wanted to shout that out. Keep up the good work there, and I appreciate that the inspiration from that. So with that being said, I think we're gonna wrap up this little mini episode.
Absolutely.
Let's shout out the socials real quick. Chris, go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. So as always, you can check me out on X at Christian B617, and of course, always make sure to be checking out the Total Apex sports page as well as the Total Apex entertainment page as well on all socials. You can check them out as well as the website. as well. Brandon, what about you?
My X is on there on the screen. Also underscore at underscore BLS32 on Instagram. I'll be sharing my articles on those two platforms. I'll also be reposting clip shorts and stuff like that on LS Highlight Reel on TikTok mainly as well. Also follow me on Total Apex Sports for all my author page for all my articles. But yeah, I want to put the banner up real quick. Remember to like, comment, subscribe for more of the Total Apex podcasts. On all of our podcasts, we are going to be starting up an NBA podcast right before the playoffs. Me and Jacob are going to be starting an NBA podcast. It's I've been thinking about doing it for a while. I just needed to figure out the time slot. And I think we're going to do it Mondays, every Monday at 7. I think that's the perfect time. And everything like that. We'll get that, do it for an hour, and get in and get out. It should be a fun podcast there. And then obviously the Tuesday shows and all that stuff too. Tuesday main show. Hopefully it's back this week. This upcoming week. We had a little hiatus because just wanted to break for stuff. Obviously the wrestling podcast on Thursdays. We got a shout out from us three. Got a shout out from our CEO Dusty in yesterday's open offices about how we did on the Thursday show. So I do appreciate y'all's support on that show. Just want to give some love to the other shows, but I mean we'll keep it up. And the main sports podcast on Friday will be fun this week. We'll be extending a little bit of a preview for the NFL draft probably since that will be the following week on the 23rd. And then yeah, it should be a fun show. Chris, and then our off the wall episode will be tonight at 7. Our full show. So you want to hear me and Chris talk about baseball some more, tune in. It should be a fun show. All right, everybody.
Absolutely.
Peace out.
All right. Thanks for tuning in, y'all. See you later.